Life Over Coffee. Conversations for transformation.
You cannot create unity from disunity. What is on the inside will come out on the outside, and if disunity is in your marriage, then disunity will flow out of your marriage into your home. If disunity characterizes your marriage, the likelihood of your children being relationally dysfunctional is pretty strong. In Philippians 4:9 it says, "What you have learned and what you have received and what you have heard and what you have seen in me, practice these things, and the God of peace will be with you." Think about it this way. What if there was division in the Trinity? What if the Father, the Son, the Spirit were angry with each other? Well, if it were true, we would not stand a chance of being loved or protected well. Now, mercifully, we do not have to worry about whether the Godhead will stay together or if they are going to get into a yelling match. Have you ever worried that way about them? I suspect it has never crossed your mind, or if it did, it was a fleeting thought that you immediately shrugged off as impossible. God's children do not worry about the stability of the Godhead, and your kids should not have to worry about the stability of the parents. You should not put that kind of burden on them. When your children think about your marriage, they should immediately think about love and joy, peace, patience, kindness, and the other manifestations of the fruit of the Spirit. Suppose your children are more aware of the hostility, the unforgiveness, the general disunity in your marriage. In that case, their hearts will be motivated to gravitate toward more stable and secure things from their immature perspectives. Everybody wants security. Nobody likes instability. When I was a teen, I found my stability through my ability to perform well at my job. That was my security. My work gave me the things that I craved, things that my parents would not give me because of their unwillingness to love each other well, and out of that love to love me well. Security, approval, acceptance, and a sense of accomplishment were mine to have as long as I could perform for my employer, and I did. My work was my refuge. My home was a chaotic context for disunity. Home life was something to endure while my job experience was a pleasurable escape. This course of action is natural for teenagers who live in chaotic homes. Their hearts begin to drift to something that they can control, to something that will not disappoint them. All of us have a desire to look for love. Too often we find this love in all the wrong places. I suspect some parents will hear this and they will think that they are the cause of their children's rejection of the Lord. Other parents might believe their children will follow Jesus because they are good parents. Both opinions are actually wrong. Good parents do not make Christians, and neither do bad parents. A Christian is made a Christian because of the gospel. And the gospel comes to individuals because of the unmerited favor, the grace of God. Do not fall into the trap of, "What have I done to my children?" But you must give biblical reflection to, "What have I done to my children?" Especially if your marriage is not a good representation of Jesus Christ and His church. There are two ditches here, and you do not want to fall into either one of them. The self-righteous person will think that works matter. The arrogant individual will presume on God's grace and do nothing. Time to parent. Is your marriage hindering your children from loving Jesus? What are some of the attitudes or actions in your marriage that you need to change so that you can more effectively put Christ on display in your home? Even if your spouse does not cooperate with you in these matters, how should you change? This is day number 24. Some parents should stop parenting.
Thanks for joining us. Learn more and get access to other resources at lifeovercoffee.com.